Hey guys, just a quick note before we start this video. It is the interview as is, like I didn't edit anything in or out. It's just us talking for 45 minutes about Shutterstock and Pond5. I'm also not going to give my opinion in this video. Just take anything you want from it, really, and make your own opinion about what's the future of, Pond5 and Shutterstock is. If you want to share your, opinion or comment below, please stay respectful, and that's it. Thank you so much and enjoy the video. Bye-bye. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Really, really appreciate it. Honestly, I didn't know who the CEO of Pond5 was until like 2 weeks ago. So do you think you could introduce yourself maybe? And then like how long have you been Pond5 CEO, for example?
Yeah. So I've been with Pond5 for a long time. First of all, thanks for having me, Emeric. It's great to join today, and nice to meet you in person for the first time, or virtually in person. You've been a great long-time contributor with some amazing content. So really appreciate you contributing to Pond5. I for myself, I've been with Pond5 for a long time. I've been here for almost 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so a long time. So I joined in late 2014 as the CFO, and I was the CFO for the last 6 years. And then in early 2020, I became the CEO. So I've been working on a lot of different stuff. And even while I was the CFO, I spent a lot of time with contributors and partners as well, on both sides of our marketplace. So both the content side and on the customer side. I think obviously it's a content-driven business, and Pond5 leads with its content. So, I always invested a lot of time in developing strong relationships with our contributors and our content partners in particular.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So I think the reason why we're doing this meeting today is, like a couple of weeks ago, you announced to the community that Shutterstock bought Pond5, or Pond5 has joined Shutterstock, is the way you said it in the email.
Correct.
So I think we can start with the biggest question, like what does that mean exactly?
Sure. I mean, I think we'll see what it means, but I think for now, and the way we see it in the future is Pond5 is now part of Shutterstock. So Shutterstock is our parent company. They own all of Pond5. I and my team have all joined Shutterstock. I'm actually at the Empire State Building today in the Shutterstock offices. This is a virtual background, of course, because I have just a white wall behind me.
It looks really real, actually.
Yeah, I know it does, doesn't it? But yeah, no. So we're all over here. Everybody that was part of Pond5 has moved over to Shutterstock. Pond5 is open, and we have offices and people all around the world, though. So while I'm in New York and a lot of my team is in New York, we have people in Dublin, London, Prague, and then a number of people that operate fully remotely as well. We've now joined the Shutterstock team, and I have to say it's been a fantastic welcoming experience in the last 2 weeks, getting to know my new colleagues. Everybody has been super open and collaborative. They all appreciate the Pond5 brand and experience that we've created on both the contributor and the customer side. And, they want to learn from us, and we want to learn from them. Shutterstock is, of course, a world leader and, in both the footage and image space. And there's lots of potential that I think could benefit all sides of our community, from contributors to customers and partners as well. So I'm really excited to be here, and again, off to a really good start here. But for the longer term, I think that's still an open question, in terms of where we go. But for now and for the foreseeable future, I think it's business as usual. So our leadership team is completely intact, our strategy is exactly the same. So we're not planning to make any changes, in any of the foreseeable future across any of our major policies. We're really looking for opportunities we can leverage using Shutterstock content, relationships, technology, customer base, etc., to further enhance the experience for all of our community as well, and then vice versa as well.
Yeah, that's a question a lot of my community ask me, is like, if things are going to stay the same, like what was the point of Shutterstock buying Pond5? Like we having hard time understanding this, because for me they're like yin and yang. It's two different platforms, and
yeah,
like on so many levels it's two different platforms. And I left Shutterstock for so many reasons, including very bad customer service as a contributor, very very low royalties. Like this is a question I have for you. Do you think it's fair for content creators, like who actually people who create the content, who takes hours and hours, and it's not just time-lapse photography, it's photography, music, After Effects templates, everything, to make as little as 15 or 20% per sale, which is what you make on Shutterstock. So obviously they have a tier system, but then you take the entire year to maybe reach 25, if you can, maybe 30%. And then on January 1st, you come back to 15%. So they make 85% out of the content people take hours and hours to create. So do you think it's fair for creators like this to make 15, 20%?
Sure. Listen, I think the market and the rates that the platforms are paying has continued to evolve over time. And Shutterstock is, of course, a leader there. And I think the costs for all of these businesses to be successful has continued to rise as well. So whether it's the cost of hosting content, whether it's the cost of sales and marketing, those costs have continued to increase as well. Meanwhile, pricing in the market has not gone up. It's mostly gone down over the last few years. So it's a competitive market. I mean, I think it's not just a Shutterstock decision on what the royalty rate should be, or Pond5. We all have to operate within our own competitive environment. Now Pond5 and Shutterstock are one company, so we'll look at that together. And as I've said, we have no plans to make any changes in the near future. But I think it's a tough question to answer, and I think everyone has to make that choice for themselves. Contributors obviously can make the choice of whether they want to work with one brand or the other, or try and sell independently in some other way.
Yeah, but like you said, like we have the choice of working with one website or the other, but I feel like now we have less and less choices because Shutterstock just bought Pond5, so now it's the same company. Even though the royalties are going to stay the same on Pond5, like, can you really assure the contributors and myself watching right now that, I don't know, 5 years from now, like the 40% and 60% royalty we make on Pond5 are going to stay the same?
No, I mean, I don't think we can make any promises for the future. I think businesses are constantly evolving and choosing their go forward strategy. And again, it's a competitive environment that's beyond any one person or one company's decision. So I think we'll continue to evaluate that as we go. So it's hard to know what 5 years from now will hold. If you look back 5 years, the market is considerably different than it was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, the market for free and cheap content in video was pretty much non-existent. You had Storyblocks, which was a relevant competitor that was gaining in scale, but had a very small library, less than 100,000 videos at the time. Fast forward to today, you have Storyblocks with about 1 million videos. So they've gone 10x larger in the course of the last 3-4 years. Meanwhile, tons of new brands have opened up in subscription space and even more so in the free space. What Pexels is doing, what a lot of these other brands are doing. And Envato Elements is now a very large competitor with a very large collection that's available for incredibly cheap. So I think the environment is so different today than it was 5 years ago. It's really hard to know what the environment 5 years from now will hold. But I think it's fair for everyone to be constantly making their own decision on which platforms they want to work with, and what rates they're willing to accept, and that includes pricing and royalty rates.
Right. No, that's a good, that's true. Yeah, I had another question. Like, in your email to the Pond5 community, you said you should continue to upload new content as you would typically across both platforms. I kind of take this with a grain of salt. Like, that is mean, obviously, you just say you cannot tell what's going to happen in 5 years from now. It's going to be different. Yeah. But do you think there's a chance at some point that Shutterstock will technically eat out Pond5 and then just like cancel Pond5.com and maybe move over all the content to only one single platform? Is there a chance that might happen sometimes?
I mean, it's a tough question to answer, but like I said, there has been no discussion of that. I think it would be hard to do. I mean, the Pond5 brand and customer perception and URL is alive and strong and growing, and I don't think that they would be looking to buy it only for the purposes of consolidation. I think, and that's not our plan right now. So if we were to go down that path, it would have to be for a good reason in the future. So again, no one can look ahead too far and make decisions, in a silo. And certainly, I'm not the only one with a seat at the table of that decision. But I don't foresee that happening anytime in the near future.
Okay, because the reason for Shutterstock buying Pond5 is, I'm sure that it's a business move. You know, we all know it. Like, we know Shutterstock wants to make more money they're already doing right now. So that's why the entire community, and I'm talking for a lot of people, like there's some groups online. I'm not going to tell the name, but 6,000 members and everything. Like, I have a community of like almost 100,000 people on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, and they all scared of the future of Pond5. Like, we know how greedy Shutterstock is. And I'm sorry to say this, but they are. Like, they want to make more and more money, contributor make less and less money. Like, I know people who make a few cents for time-lapse videos or for stock footage. So it's hard. And then when, like, this is my experience with Shutterstock, like maybe 2019, 2020, before I quit, is I was trying to understand why some of my content were rejected sometimes. And there's no one behind the emails to answer. No one. Sorry.
Yeah.
No one. So it's kind of hard to keep trust, with Shutterstock when they give you crappy royalties. There's no one to help you when you have a problem with your content. You are the people who create the content. They are the reason why we make money, and they treat you like shit. Sorry for my French, but that's true. That's what happens, and that's why I remove almost like 700 clips from Shutterstock. Like, and I was making sometimes all the way to $1,000. Like, I can't. It's hard for me to work with a company who doesn't value the creators. And
Yeah.
this is why I love Pond5. Like, I feel like Pond5 always loved the creators. Like, I have awesome memories on that, and they were already always helpful. And
Yeah.
Shutterstock is like the opposite. So it was hard for me and the community to understand this merging. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, listen. Again, I've only worked for Shutterstock for a week and a half, so I can't speak to everything you're
Yeah.
referring to. I can say this though. Again, one, I think the teams here at Shutterstock have changed a lot in the last 2 years. So there's a lot of new people here and a lot of new ideas, a lot of great ideas. So like I said, I've been very impressed with how open, collaborative, team oriented, and smart the folks I've met here are. So I'm very positive on the future direction of the combined brand. So I'll say that, and I think it's fair to as a contributor to be questioning that direction at any time, and obviously everyone should make their own decision. But I think we're going in the right direction here, and I think of course every
So are
business
you
wants
going in
to
the
make
right
more money.
direction for the company or for the contributors? I feel like you're going in the right direction more for the buyers, for the people who bring the money and not the contents. So it's hard
I
for
mean,
us as contributors. Like, there's two sides. There's the buyers, there's the company, and there's the contributors. But I feel like all those companies are kind of, targeting the buyers more than the contributors, and they're not trying to help us, the people who create the contents.
yeah, I
And
mean, I think of it a little bit more holistically than that. Again, especially with a marketplace where you do have two sides of the community, you
yeah,
can't only focus on one side. So that's certainly something we've learned, over many years at Pond5 is, if you have the best content, the most content in the world, doesn't matter if you don't have customers, and if you don't have customers, it doesn't matter what you have for for content. So they constantly have to be kept in sort of in mutual respect and appreciation. I think pricing is something that is certainly evolving very quickly, and we're monitoring and adjusting. And I know we get questions from contributors when they see low prices and subscriptions and things like that. And I know Shutterstock has had the same experience, but we are trying to keep both sides of our marketplace in our view in every single decision that we make. And I know Shutterstock looks at it the same way. So even in my 2 weeks here, I've experienced that same type of thinking, where it isn't just one side or the other, and they're not in competition. Creators such as yourself that make amazing content benefit from the distribution to their customers. And again, you only seek success because of those customers. So I think for creators, they have to respect the customer, and customers have to respect the creators. And Pond5 and Shutterstock are the platforms that bring those two together and are trying to keep a level of fairness, in terms of where those markets are coming together. So it's a challenge, I'm telling you, in every single deal. And it's not just Pond5 and Shutterstock. I think it's really important to realize and acknowledge the fact that there's a very large market besides Pond5 and Shutterstock, right, in video. Getty is a very large and historically significant brand that we're constantly competing against. Adobe stock as well as another large brand, and then all of those subscription and free and content sites out there. I mean, if you search stock footage or stock images or stock music on Google, you'll get 10 plus pages of very relevant competitors. So this is not a 3 or 4 or certainly 2 company industry. So we're constantly working within those confines and trying to find a balance that benefits both sides of our marketplace.
Yeah, I'm completely aware that there's like a lot of marketplace. Like I've been selling myself on Shutterstock, Pond5, Adobe Stock, Video Hive, which is part of Envato.
Sure.
And then like long time ago, a company actually that shut down like a few years ago, and Giddy like iStock as well. But like recently, I was actually in touch with a couple of marketing people at Pond5, and one of them wanted to make like an article, like a highlights about my profile. And then I'm not going to say her name, but she wanted me to go exclusive on Pond5, because like if we do a highlights of your profile, like we love your content, that would be great if you could be exclusive. So I say, why not? I'm going to take my recent contents and put it exclusive on Pond5 and keep my old content non-exclusive. And I've been making good money on Pond5. Like I've had a good month last month. It's for some reason pretty slow since Shutterstock, since you announced Pond5 has joined Shutterstock. But I'm just trying to, I kind of feel like I was played a little bit, because for like the last 6 months, I was like, yeah, I'm going to join Pond5 exclusive. I'm going to work with you. I've been working with your team, with team as well. That's maybe probably why you've heard about me. I just feel played. And then like 2 weeks later, Pond5 has joined Shutterstock. So for me right now, like we come back to maybe my specific case instead of, the entire global community. I'm just trying to, I don't know, just to realize and to understand what I should be doing right now. Like should I just, I've thought about removing all my content, or maybe just go back to non-exclusive so I can upload somewhere else. Like it's been tough.
Yeah, listen, I'm sorry if you feel played or I'm sure whoever you were talking to, my team was probably unaware of the discussion. So I don't think that there was from a point of view of trying to play anybody. And we'll, for your particular case, of course, we'll make it right. So if you want to go back to non-exclusive and you feel like that, was a bad choice 2-3 weeks ago, then certainly we can make that right. So I'm not concerned about, being able to figure out your particular situation. Now, of course, your content is amazing, Emeric. So we would love to keep it, and on an exclusive basis, and we pay an enhanced royalty for that. We're really proud of our exclusive collection, our exclusive business. We see 2x better revenue per clip from that collection, and so we're always excited to get people, especially with phenomenal content such as yours, to join up exclusively. So we want to continue to invest in that exclusive program. So that's something that we're looking to do. So I hope we can make it work for you. But again, if this transaction has given you consternation, you want to go back to non-exclusive, then we can make that change immediately. So
yeah, I'm still debating about what to do. I think I'll just take my time. I'm not going to do it right away, but yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Like it's Shutterstock controlling Pond5 and removing this exclusive contents, and maybe do only non-exclusive at some point. Maybe it's like 5 years from now. Like who knows? Like even you don't know. So it's hard to tell what's going to happen. But like we have a feeling that is going to happen. Like there's a reason for this buyout, and this is why we like the entire community is scared of. But
sure. I mean, listen, I think you got to give us a chance too, right? I mean, I think
time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell, and everybody gets to vote with their feet in this industry. So if you don't like it, then you have to make your own choices. But again, I think the Pond5 way, and I think the Shutterstock way at heart is still a point of view of realizing the value of content. And I don't think that's missing. Even if maybe it was in the past, I don't know, to be honest. But again, the people that I've interacted with here over the my 2 weeks here, and for the several months before that, as we were going through the process, they've all been again very appreciative of the brand, our contributors, and our content. So I don't think this is going to be a one-way deal.
To me, Pond5 has always been the best, like on so many levels. Like naming your own prices, like just the UI on the website, both as contributor and buyer, and the customer service. For me, it's huge. Just the customer service is huge, and it was lacking at Shutterstock. This is why for me it was weird when I heard the news. Like it's like two different companies with two different vision and way of doing like policy and everything. But I mean, you probably see stuff I don't see myself, but that's what I feel as a contributor, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Listen, I mean, I think you got to give it some time here. I think that I don't think the strategy and vision are that different. Now we come from different perspectives and different points of view and different strengths and different parts of the market where we're relatively, stronger than one another. And again, that's part of the reason I think Shutterstock looked to acquire Pond5 is because it really brings an incrementality to their business. Just to kind of talk about those segments a little bit. Pond5 is extremely strong in TV and film, for example. That's two industries where we do very, very well. Shutterstock does extremely well in creative marketing, ad agencies, corporates, etc. So where we're relatively less strong. So there is a real there's a real opportunity to kind of further expand the opportunity, the particular, in your case, your footage where it's being seen and being consumed. Now, we can talk about, our plans there because we're not planning to necessarily move content from one platform to the other in the near term. But, in the longer term, we do see great opportunities for your footage, your content to be seen across different, not just marketplaces, but in different customer segments where you're not reaching through only one platform. So I think that's an important long-term upside.
So what would be the point for people to keep uploading on Shutterstock if they will make more money on Pond5? If you say like cross-platform where the two companies kind of mix together, what's the point at some point? Because Shutterstock probably going to promote Pond5 contents. What's the point for contributors to keep uploading on Shutterstock if they're going to make like twice the amount of money on Pond5?
Well, as I was trying to say, I think we're not moving content between the two platforms for the near future.
Now, I guess.
So that's why it's important, if you want to be selling on both platforms, to upload to both platforms, so you don't lose the opportunity to make money on both platforms. And so that's what we're encouraging people to do, is upload on both platforms. In the longer term, we absolutely want to consolidate your ability to upload to one platform and distribute to multiple platforms. Now, how long it is before we get there, I don't know. We have a lot of work to do to get there. That's why it's important to continue to upload to both platforms for now.
And this is where we're afraid, like when this happens, royalty is going to go down like crazy for us contributors on Pond5. Yeah. And we know it's going to happen. Like,
I mean, you keep saying that, and I'm telling you,
we know it. I don't know that. There's a feeling we know it's going to happen. It's like Facebook buying Instagram, like, and made it like the application it is today, and it's not exactly what it was at the beginning. And a lot of people have been complaining about Instagram, and I feel like this is what's happening right now with Shutterstock and Pond5.
Yeah.
And obviously, I can tell. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. But yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I understand your concerns, and I think all I'd ask is you give us a chance. I really have a great deal of respect for the business here at Shutterstock and what they've built. And I think there's tremendous upside, if we are able to properly capture that opportunity. So I think, if I were you, I would see it out and see what happens. And of course, like I said, everyone gets a chance to vote with their feet every day.
No, definitely. So far, there's nothing I can do besides wait and see, There's like 4 questions. I ask like people on my Instagram to ask you a question. We probably more or less already answered some, but I feel like it was pretty, interesting to ask you. So there's Joshua asking, what will you do as a CEO to slow the race to the bottom for content creators and help creators make a living wage with their work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think the race to the bottom is not a one party problem, quite frankly. Like I said before, we're in a very complex and large market where there are constantly there's more content and more sellers of content that are willing to price their content very low, and that's a challenge we're all dealing with, quite frankly. And I don't know that there is a quick and easy fix to that problem. I think for Pond5 and again for Shutterstock, we're proud of the fact that we have a very large business in the enterprise space that allows us to, insulate some of that that price pressure that you see. But again, there is absolutely a pressure from content creators who are selling their content on sites that allow you to underprice your content. So as a competitive business and with customers that are coming to us with competitive prices on similar content, we're all forced to deal with that to keep our customers feeling that they're getting the commitment that we have to them, which is to give them the best price. That's a Pond5 policy for a long time. While we do have a set your own price policy for content, we also have a best price guarantee for customers, right? So that everybody should get access to the best price at any time on the Pond5 site. I think that's an important, important part of our value proposition to our customers. And again, it's not customer versus contributor in this case, because both sides will benefit from it.
It's contributors versus the company, I guess.
No, listen, I mean, I think the way that both companies, Shutterstock and Pond5, are structured is on a royalty share basis. So, the higher price we sell for, the more a Pond5 or Shutterstock benefits from that. So there is an alignment of incentives there that's quite linear, right? We all want to sell for a higher price, any type of asset, but it's a competitive market. So we can't look at it in a bubble of saying, this is what the price is, and there's no other option to that, because customers can very easily change websites and go to another place to get access to content that's less. So I think it's a sacred value for brands that want to be around for a long time to offer the best price in the market.
Well, that's actually, you cannot answer the next question. It was not really a question, but Kevin said, like, please let us continue to name more prices. And
yeah,
I feel this is actually very important, because Video Hive and Pond5 was the only platform where you can actually set your own prices. And I think as a photographer, time-lapse photographer is very interesting, because every time-lapse is different. And it's not just time-lapse, like video, every soundtrack is different. It might take more time. So maybe I want to sell it $20-$30 more than the regular price. And this is what we liked with Pond5, is being able to, like, the freedom of, having your own prices and control your prices depending on the content you're selling.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's something that we think is an important part of the Pond5 value proposition for our contributors. And again, our plan is to keep that in place. So I think it's a competitive advantage for us. It is different than how Shutterstock approaches it, which is a flat price market. And I think part of that relies on the different segments of the customer market where we're strong versus Shutterstock. I would encourage contributors that want to really optimally take advantage of that to use the exclusive program, because I think that's where you can, especially in the high end of the market where you have really high end stuff, really unique footage, you can really take advantage of it, because you can price at a higher level and access only that premium part of the market. You give up a little bit of the volume side for sure by doing that if you want to price at the premium end of the market, because some customers are very price sensitive and will find the next best or the next closest alternative. So, but that's a personal choice, and I think it's one that allows Pond5 to be able to operate at that premium end of the market very, very successfully. So, and again, I think that benefits contributors. So it's something we want to do. I think it's an advantage for us. It gets us access to unique and exclusive content that is very high end, and so we plan to continue that.
So what do you do differently with exclusive contents that you don't really do with non-exclusive? Like, is there more, like, do you, like, for example, when you search something on Pond5, like, are you going to show exclusive content first? Do you have more marketing for exclusive contents? Do you push the exclusive content more than the non-exclusive content? I was always wondering.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. We do have dedicated marketing, and our sales team is highly incentivized to sell exclusive content, and mainly because our customers want it, right? Not all customers, but some customers prefer exclusive content. You can see in the results where the average exclusive clip earns twice as much as a non-exclusive clip. So that's the benefit to the contributor, along with being able to set your own price and go at very high prices or very low prices. It also works well there too. But at the high price part of the market, you get access to customers that are willing to pay for it. You have access to preferential marketing and sales. And again, the results speak for themselves with our contributor set. I still think we could be more successful with it, and I think it really hinges on, obviously getting the right content and being able to service it to the right customer at the right time. But I think for the customers, or for the contributors that are contributing exclusively, and I have to say, of the 40 or 50 artist contributors I've talked to in the last 2 weeks since the acquisition, I'd say at least half were exclusive contributors, and I think coming in, many of them were also skeptical as you are about what direction we're going to take and how it's going to affect exclusive artists going forward. I think at the end of each of those conversations, artists have come away with a relatively positive outlook on the future. Obviously you have to wait and see, as we all do, and see what the future holds. And you have your choice to make at any given moment. But in terms of the direction we're going, the Pond5 way is not changing anytime soon. So we're going to continue to double down on what we do well, and of course we'll look for opportunities to collaborate and benefit from all of the things that Shutterstock brings to the table, including a lot of the places they've been able to make investments we haven't been able to, on the technology side, and the tools, and on the services side. So those are all things that we will be able to get access to and be able to build upon.
Okay, I have one more question. Is Victor asking more maybe on a global side of it, and maybe on a personal note, personal opinion from you. What do you think the future of stock footage is? Not just stock footage, everything, the stock marketplace. What do you think the future of this is, on a global way of talking?
Sure. Listen, I think stock media and any kind of pre-shot media has been growing in leaps and bounds in terms of the consumption, right? People are producing media, as you are with your own YouTube channel, constantly. Hopefully you're a Pond5 customer for your music or sound effects for your YouTube channel. But you know what I'm saying? Everybody's a creator at this point, and so that's really driven the consumption side of the equation. Now, I think in the last couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years, we've seen downward pressure on the price side, which we continue to experience. I do think that there is a leveling off that will occur in the long term in terms of the ability to price down and cost down and compete on price, because the cost of production is a relatively fixed amount. So I feel like we're finding that trough on the race to the bottom, as we call it, and I think the future on the other side is actually quite bright. So because consumption will not cease, and it will turn into what's the next growth market. So a lot of people are watching the metaverse and NFTs and things like that as new drivers of content consumption. So I think we have to be optimistic for the future, and I personally feel very optimistic.
Because you're a CEO of Pond5, obviously. I mean that's good. That's good. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'm a naturally optimistic person, Emeric. I thought you know that about me.
I am too, but I've been selling content for 10 years. I started in 2013, and as an immigrant in the US, it has been a way for me to make really good money. Especially Pond5 is the only website where sales didn't really go down. Obviously, it fluctuates, obviously, but all the other marketplaces, I take Video Hive, I went from maybe 20 grand a year to barely any sale this month. And iStock is the same, Adobe Stock is the same, Shutterstock was the same. Pond5 was the last one I had a lot of hopes on. So I hope you understand why I got really mad on social media and why I'm still, not 100% sure on what the future will be for the platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen, I get it. I do get it. Like I said, I talk to artists like you every day, and where I think we come from a very empathetic place for how the market has evolved, and we think we've talked about this. The price pressure comes from the not just the customer side of the equation, but also the content side of the equation. When you started in 2013, I believe we had probably 1 million and a half clips. So we've grown that collection to 33 million clips. So you're talking about a 25x growth factor in the 10 years you've been doing it, right? So the size of content, the depth and breadth of content is, that content creation has been matching the consumption side, and that's why you haven't seen, a big decline in your sales at Pond5. But like I said, it's a very competitive environment, and pricing has been going the opposite direction for at least the last several years. But there's still a very large and strong market for people that are willing to pay, for content creation. But I think we also have to realize that creators that have their own YouTube channel, that don't make maybe a ton of money on monetization of the YouTube channel, but maybe make some, as probably is the case for you, you probably have a limited budget for stock media to help make your channel as professional as possible. I'm just guessing. And in that case, you probably have less willingness and ability to pay for a $100 video or $150 After Effects or a $200 music track. And so, I think we have to price it appropriately for the different parts of the market we serve. Pond5 and Shutterstock, to some extent, both compete in that part of the market, the social media creator audience and the YouTube producers. And I think it's important that we serve that, because that's where a lot, if not most, of the volume increases come over the last 10 years. And so, you look at it and say, my price is going lower. We're saying we've expanded the pie. So I think that's really important to see. And so it doesn't bother me that much but it doesn't bother me personally that, we're selling at a lower price to a market that was previously unable to afford professional quality stock media. Because again,
at a lower price, the contributor makes less money. I guess that's just how it works. And I think the thing, a lot of people
make less money on that particular clip, but you would not have sold that clip, right? Because again, a social media creator that's has a pizza shop was not purchasing video 10 years ago, right? So we've expanded that pie considerably.
Sell a clip and make 20 cents out of it. I value my work, and a lot of people do, and I'm at a point where I would rather not sell and make $0 than make 20 cents on it. And I think what killed Shutterstock the last few years is the subscription system. Because yes, it's good for the buyer. Like they spend, I don't know, I actually have no clue, like $30 a month. They get 5 downloads, and then the contributor make 20 cents per download. This is where we kind of got screwed up a little bit. This just subscription system, and it's good for the buyer. It's not good for the contributor.
Well, listen, I think again, as someone who produces your own YouTube channel, I hope you can also see and again, I don't know how much stock media you purchase on that side of the equation, but people are producing at tighter and tighter budgets on faster and faster basis. That's what's leading to consumption growth of media, and stock media in particular, right? Is you need access to stuff you can't go shoot or create on your own at a lower price. And your budget isn't there to support $150 per video budget, right? And that's true across all the different industries that we compete in. So again, when I see the full picture, I still look at when we're selling to Microsoft or LinkedIn, which is one of our big customers, they're paying a very fair rate for the size business they are. And it's a lot higher than $5 a video. That's very different than what we sell to Emeric time-lapse, YouTube channel.
It's different.
I'm just being serious. Like we sell tons into TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, for real producers that have their own original content generation, and they just simply can't afford to pay $100 a video. I feel very comfortable with our ability to actually segregate those two. It's not perfect. There are customers that get access to things that maybe they probably shouldn't to. We're not perfect at that, but especially at the larger scale, we all try as a brand to protect the value of the content because our business is dependent upon it. So I think you're overestimating or underestimating how aligned our incentives are actually in the long term.
I guess time will tell. We'll see what happens. I hope you remember that contributors are a big part of stock websites. They 100%. Make the content you sell. I know those websites, Pond5, Shutterstock, they offer tons of things we can do on our own, like marketing, visibility, like licensing, agreement, transfer, everything, which is the price we pay at the end of the day to make it happen and sell our time lapses. But yeah, just remember, contributors is a big part of stock websites.
I couldn't agree more. Listen, I mean, that's why we're in touch, right? Is because I do personally appreciate that, and it's crazy we hadn't talked before this, but I talk regularly with many a contributor, and I definitely hear your concerns, and they're appreciated. But I think again, I think in my heart, I believe that we're headed in the right direction here. And, we all have work to do to get to a point where we feel proud of the businesses we're building. We're not perfect, and we never have been. And we have lots of angry contributors every day that come to us as well. So, we all have work to do, and we certainly take that as a very very seriously.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate the message. I think I'm pretty much done with all the questions I had. So if you have anything to say, like as a conclusion, or just go for it.
No, listen, I mean, I think like all I can reiterate is, my excitement for the future here, on behalf of Pond5 and all of our employees. We got a very warm welcome when we joined Shutterstock, and I've been very impressed by the caliber of people and the openness to learning from one another. So I think again, my best advice is see how it goes, and like I said, you can always change your point of view at any time. We all hope you stay and you stay with the business. We're trying to do what's right for both our contributors and customers, because we sit in the middle of that and we benefit from that. So I think there actually is more alignment of incentives than maybe the contributors always appreciate. So trust that we're trying to do what's right for that whole community, and again, hopefully we can all win together.
All right. Well, thank you so much, for taking the time to do this today. 45 minutes, pretty good. Thank you so much. And,
yeah, my pleasure, Emeric.
And then, have a good rest of your day then.
Thanks. Have a good rest of your day too. Take care.
Here it is. My interview with Pond5 CEO Tom Crary. That was pretty interesting, to be honest. As you could see, I'm still a bit skeptical about the future of Pond5. I don't know if he knows what's going to happen in the future, or he just doesn't want to share it, or if he doesn't really know about it. Like, honestly, I don't know. With my new company, Timelapse Company, we also released a new webinar about a couple weeks ago, talking about the different marketplaces and how you can make good money selling time-lapse videos and stock footage online. So there's a link in the description if you want to check this webinar. It's done, obviously, but you can watch the replay so you can understand what's the difference really between Pond5 and Shutterstock, and the reason why I kind of got mine online and why I don't understand this merging between the two companies, because they're very different. So, and then let me know what you guys think about this interview in the comments. I'm pretty interested to read what you guys are thinking about all of this. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.